Good.
Text box.
Still waiting on YouTube stream to start. Waiting on audio. Okay. Welcome everyone to the Wednesday edition of the Foolish Tech Show. I'm here with the usual crew. We're here for primarily for support of our products and services. So please don't hesitate to interrupt us if you have any questions about anything Foolish IT. We'll be happy to answer that, as well as questions about anything else, anything you'd like to chat about. Come to our IRC and let us know. You can get to that by going to foolishtechshow.com or foolishit.com/live. You'll see links to both of our feeds there, both through Twitch and through YouTube. And otherwise, if we don't hear any requests, we will continue to talk about random things, including mostly probably tech-related news or tech-related interests.
Yes.
And we have a bunch of people already in the
talking about those things.
We have a bunch of people already in the chat. Beavis, Eagle Tech, Mike, Phoenix, Shook, and yeah, and hopefully more will join. We got a good amount of things to talk about. I believe Johnny and Brantley are traveling today, and they probably won't be with us. But
he wanted to join in. They're on a ferry. They're at that hacker or going to that hacker camp up in Washington.
Yeah, so it is tech related, their travels.
Let's throw that. You got that? I got the link. If you don't.
Yeah, I don't have the link on that. If you want to throw that up there.
Okay, that is the.
Okay.
Hacker camp.
Sorry if I get lost in all the links, guys, but I will talk to them all in order. The first one I wanted to talk about was let's see.
Yeah, click the link.
Oh, the hacker camp?
Yeah. If you're like, what? Yeah, click the link. It's the tour camp. I don't know how it's supposed to say. The American Hacker Camp in the San Juan Islands for hackers, makers, breakers, and shakers.
Okay, so it does look like everyone out there that Firefox has finally gotten to the point where they can offer multi-core, multi-threading, support in their in their product. It's taken them a good long time to do that, but this is part of their electrolysis project. Where so basically Firefox can now use child processes, and it looks like there's a fairly good trade-off balance with performance and memory usage. Because there's always a case where doing this type of thing would skyrocket memory usage, as we've seen under other browsers. But the improvement should offset that, I think, on any modern system. So I don't really foresee that to be any bit of an issue. Another great one is I don't know if you guys heard, or if it's been talked about previously, but Google is going to deprecate SSL v3. Most everyone has moved to TLS at this point, and it's considered to be the better choice, obviously.
Yeah.
Particularly newest TLS, and it's nice to see them make that move.
So what Michael posts a bunch of good links in there in chat.
Yeah. Oh, there's a ton of good links.
Mike at Invice posted this. Apparently, the FBI wants to access internet browser history without a warrant. And
yeah. So I have had a link to this.
In terrorism and spy cases, it says. Oh, goody. Hang on.
Yeah, I had a link to this.
Heating and AC people are here.
Here we go. I don't know if this is the same link that was it a ZDNet link that you posted? No, it wasn't. But basically, it's the same thing. Now, I don't like this. I don't like these broad laws that allow everyone to, throw a huge fishing net and decide after the fact, what they want to charge somebody with, and that's effectively, I believe, what they're doing, and it's far overstepping it, and
it seems to go
everybody's
against due process and.
Yeah, and there's really and you really have to look at these things closely because I believe that some of these things border on violating our constitutional rights, and of course we're talking about the U.S. here, so that doesn't affect some of our viewership out there, but it's you're hearing more and more about it. It's getting harder and harder to ignore, and harder for them to justify it as or for them to justify it based upon security and concerns, around terrorism and things of that nature. I believe that's a big smokescreen for them to just do what they want, and they always, fall under that scapegoat of that. Oh, we're doing it for your protection. We're doing it for your protection. We're doing it for your safety. We're doing it for this. But in reality, if you look at how they're actually using it, and conveniently, they can also do a cease and desist, and so the people that they send these things to, it's very hard for us to even know. So why they're doing that is also another question, and you could argue that, oh well, they don't want the information to get out, but what in my mind it boils down to is that they're blocking both ends of it. In other words, they want to take the information, and they also don't want to tell us where they're poking for where they're looking and who they're asking for the information, when they're sending the requests. And so as a result, it's only up very recently, and I think it was like Yahoo that actually said, hey, we got one of these requests, and we're not gonna just keep our mouths shut. The case is over, so here's the information, properly redacted if necessary, of course, but basically here's the information. And for them to go against that leads me to believe they're misusing it and just don't want to be caught. I mean, no, don't look at the man behind the curtain, type of excuse. At any rate, but that's certainly should be cause for concern. I also saw something. I don't know if this is interesting or not. It's sort of random news, but like newspaper, apparently people employed by newspaper right now, internet publishing and broadcasting finally, or just recently in 2016, looks like exceeded the number of employees for traditional newspapers. I don't know. I'm not going to read into the significance of that too much, but I actually thought that would have already happened. I don't know. I'm quite surprised. I thought that the newspaper industry had been in decline longer, and it would have affected their employment. But
I would have thought so too.
Department of Labor, though, the statistics, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, that's where this information is coming from. So, interesting.
Well, I think the newspapers are providing more electronic content now anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the not just the.
Oh, that's true. So
paper.
Theoretically, some of their employees are also on the other side of that statistic. So that's kind of weird. I don't know. Yeah. See, that's the problem with statistics.
Yeah.
So take it as, with a grain of salt. And here,
lies, damn lies, and statistics. And I think marketing should probably be put in there somewhere too.
Yeah, exactly. We were talking about this, joking about it. At least this guy beat the game Dark Souls 3 with his feet. And we were all joking. I believe it was Tank and I were joking earlier that we've all known people that have done things with their feet, and inevitably they do it better than we would ever be able to do it otherwise in our lives, using our hands or anything else for that matter. Like I had a previous boss, and his father was a paraplegic, and he was without his arms, and he did his painting, all of his painting with his feet, and it was pretty amazing work, at least from what he showed me. I was impressed. And I've seen musicians and things like that do the very same things. I believe Tank had a friend or had an acquaintance that fell into that category. And this is the case of the video games. But yeah, I'm not good at any of this crap. So you're making me very jealous being able to do it with not the most usual appendages. Let's see.
Right, well, I hope we haven't already discussed this on a previous show, but UltraCryptor has not been providing decryption keys after people have paid the ransom.
Oh,
so they've
good.
actually added a help desk option to the pay site, so you can get assistance in receiving the decryption keys after you make your payment.
Are you joking? They're
No,
actually
I'm not
taking
joking.
customer service steps to.
They have customer service to pay their
Oh, jeez.
pay the
Okay.
ransom. It's a bleeping computer article.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. I
think Brantley posted that on our.
They'll have a call center soon.
Oh,
probably.
yeah.
You'd
Well,
think
okay,
with that in place, it would be easier to catch them.
Well, I'm going to flip over to some of the groups. The group shared here today in our chat here shared a whole bunch of stories that are related to this, and I'm going to repost them again here. But basically, yeah, now universities, thank you very much for proffering the story up to the world, but now universities are being ransomed and are paying the ransom, and now so you will see these basically whole industries pop up: customer support, bonus, all of that stuff that we were just talking about is going to be increasingly popular now that they know they can target wealthy universities and get ransom from them. This was the wealthy universities. I mean, any university for that matter, but they're usually very targeted, and they usually target them within the means of the part of the way that they work and appeal is that the ransom isn't, it's not like they're asking for $10 million in ransom, things that people just would be impossible for them to pay. They're asking for somewhat reasonable amounts considering the people they're hacking. In other words, it looks like they do a little bit of background check first before they go after someone. And the University of Calgary apparently paid $20,000. 20,000, was it Canadian? They don't go on to say. If it's Canadian dollars, that would be more than 20,000 US, but I'm guessing 20,000 US. Yeah, it's so sad. I haven't gone through all of this yet, but this should be the last thing. These are universities who are supposed to be teaching our children computer science and computer security and networking and any other career for that matter that they could. I'm sorry, I just got distracted with the chat. But these are the places that are supposed to be educating our children, and they're basically doing the exact opposite of what security experts would say. So they're not educating our children, and I would question. I would question any IT department of a university or any other organization that allowed the organization to proceed with paying ransom. But they could always get the advice of them, and they just go against it, I suppose. So it's tough, but I don't think this is going to be.
It's never a good idea to pay up. But didn't you say something like 93% of malware is ransomware right now? Was that yesterday? Michael?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Man, sometimes you're in a pinch. What are you going to do, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand, but again, it should not be. The option of paying should again, never come to somebody's mind, because it's a gamble. I mean, there is a chance that they won't provide the keys, or they could just demand more money. We've talked about this before, and you could argue that every ransom that's paid, and whatever the reasoning, the justification for it, it has caused what was that stupid statistic? It was like 48,000% increase in and I know that's not probably the real number, but it was a large number, 1,000 percentage point number, I believe, that it's increased. And why you're seeing the ability for them to hire entire departments of people to work for them is because they're making money. Because effectively all these news outlets that are publishing these stories are doing free advertising for them. And I'm against that. I'm strongly against that. And I think you should never, ever encourage any customer you have out there to pay these things. If the only thing that will make this problem go away and stop is if you stop paying the ransoms.
Yeah, as long as you're paying it, they're going to keep on doing it. They're going to do it more and more.
And
just legitimizes what they're doing.
Who do you want to blame? Yeah, blame the bad guys, but also blame everybody that's paid the ransom as well, because they played a part in it too.
No, Michael, you can't go that far. That's crap.
Well, because through their inappropriate actions in dealing with their infection, they did that. They could just lose the data. I doubt any business would.
Sometimes losing the data just isn't an option.
Sometimes when you lose the data, you've lost the entire business. Wasn't a multi-million-dollar business just went totally under for this the other week?
Well,
I'm not sure about any particular case, but that could certainly happen.
Again, where are the IT departments and where are backups? Okay, why the school had no backups? I mean,
well, you can blame your IT strategy.
I believe
you can't blame
people.
Like especially individuals, and you're talking about small business and home unit. You can't blame these people.
I would. Sorry, I've been any. Well.
I mean, you can definitely chastise people for not backing up their data, because this type of malware would not even be an issue if people backed up their data.
Something we've been telling them.
Yeah, but it's pretty sad when hospitals and everything else are paying up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty sad. I will blame.
They're saying we don't have a backup strategy. Whenever they pay in the ransom, they're effectively saying we don't have a backup strategy. Come attack us anytime you want to, because we don't have any recourse but to pay up money. and if that's the state of IT in business, there's.
You know what would be funny? If the guys who were holding the ransom there, if they were if they would come back and offer a backup strategy when they paid up.
Yeah, it would be a great cross marketing for them.
Cross marketing, yeah.
So, yeah, I thought we talked about this the other day, but it was also mentioned, this news about the Facebook messages. It's pretty easy to go in and use your web browser and the debugger that's probably already in your web browser to pull out a message ID and basically be able to send and alter messages that are sent back and forth. So without your knowledge, you could, for instance, you could be talking to somebody, you're a trusted friend, let's say, and then somebody could insert some malware into that stream and say, hey, click here. And what's the person on the other end going to do? They're going to trust the person they're talking to, and they're going to click on it. But that person on the other end had maybe no idea that was happening, number one, or number two, maybe that person on the other end wasn't your friend.
Well, what is the context of the exploit? Is this like Facebook Messenger, it's a web browser?
Yeah, no, it's Facebook.
What are you talking about?
Yes, it's Facebook's website. So basically, like I said, you could carry this out very easily just using your web browser. You could pull the ID that you need and then craft a response back using that ID.
Mm-hmm. Do you even need to? Because I mean, that's just
read the delete Facebook, the one that the Hacker News there.
Save that for me later.
Sure. I'll keep it open here as well, so I'll have it. Apparently,
no reason not to use Facebook. I don't care about that.
For all those iPhone lovers out there, there's 10 apps that are otherwise for pay that are for free. Is that my understanding?
For iPhone?
10 paid iPhone apps on sale for free right now.
I didn't know iPhone had free apps.
Yes, lots of them.
I thought
you may not want these apps possibly,
anyway.
but I don't know. There's one that's here that's like $35 normally, and it's free. But most of them seem cheap ones.
What's the $35 one?
Let me see. The $35 one is the Merck Manual Professional Edition. Merck Manual, top-rated Merck Manual app for professionals, named as one of the 10
Merck
medical apps in app. Merck, M-E-R-C-K.
Oh, Merck. Okay. Well, say Proctor wants those links anyway, so.
Everything else is $1, so you're not really saving a ton. But that $35 one, make up for it if that's something you needed.
Well, maybe they raised the price just for the sale.
Welcome. We got some Futures Tech crew joining us as well as Thermos. Thanks. Okay. Let's see.
Is Brantley piled in yet?
No.
Nope.
We also have news from the group out there. I can't remember who posted this, but 373,000 customers waiting for Tesla Model 3. So Tesla was apparently expecting 400,000. So they kind of didn't hit the mark there with that. It looks like there were lots of cancellations for it. So anywho, I can't afford these cars, so I don't usually spend a whole lot of time on it, but I do like.
Pretty cool though.
Yeah, they are pretty cool. That's hard to ignore, and most of our viewership probably likes the side of it, the eco-friendly side of it, and they're more advanced features than the typical car, and the associated high price of that as well, and being an emerging new technology. So certainly understandable, but let's move on.
I was hoping to get Brantley's input on this next link here I want to post.
Go ahead.
Make sure I got the right thing here. Yeah. The FAA has put out a warning that in Southern California for 6 days in June, GPS could be unreliable or unavailable because of testing, because of military testing.
No way.
What that is, they're not disclosing. But it centers around China Lake, California, where the Naval Air Warfare Center Weapons Division is based.
Okay, well, look, but we all know that the military has, their own, GPS. Military's trying to replace it, with something more advanced, and they're just trying to upgrade GPS to begin with. It doesn't surprise me that we would see possible disruptions as they would test those new types of systems, and they might even have to jam existing GPS to make sure that their new systems are working. It could be related to that. That would be a less,
or maybe they're testing
worrisome.
They're testing ways to jam GPS so that other countries can't use it.
Yeah,
or weapons targeting, or
But it's hard, and I would urge people though to avoid going completely paranoid with it and thinking that they're testing some new weapon that they're going to use on us or something like that.
I'm not suggesting people get paranoid and go crazy over it.
But it is, you would appreciate a more open disclosure about what it is, but you could also appreciate the fact that they want privacy in those matters. If it is a weapon, if it is something that they would potentially use, that information can't be out there for anyone. So it's a balance, and we're always, and all throughout history, you'll see stories like this whenever anything is done, and nothing ever really comes of it. Most of the time, I imagine they're technologies that if we did actually see the details of them, we'd probably agree with, I would imagine. But in some cases, when they're used to surveil us, or used to when these technologies are pointed inward at our country instead of outward, that's a bit of a concern. But hopefully there's some oversight somewhere on that, and hopefully it truly isn't the black hole budgets that I hear about all the time when talking about military budgets. Now, on another story, for all those Star Wars fans out there, it looks like Magic Leap's new headset is gonna look is starting to look. The sketches are starting to look very similar to something you might remember from the movies, the originals at least. Or was it the? Yeah. In the first one. Yep. That was in the first one. So there's that. That was shared with us too. This is an interesting how to run Android on your iPhone using this 3D printed phone case. Is this what I think it is? Are you just printing out an iPhone case and putting in your current Linux phone's innards into it? Because that really doesn't seem like something. What? Or are they actually? No, this is connected to iPhone. Well, I mean, it is. That's what it essentially is, though. You connect it to your iPhone to run Android apps, but it's effectively an iPhone, or it's effectively an Android phone in a case, in a 3D printed case. I don't know about that one. Hacker News. That's. I mean, it's not the solution. I think it should be. BitTorrent forum hack. Change your password. So I hear. That was shared as well. There's going to be a lot of people getting password reset messages based upon all these breaches. Now, these are the breaches that we've talked about. Some of them haven't been recent. Some of them have happened a number of years ago, but the data has just been dumped, and so you'll see a lot of your customers getting these password reset messages, and you should encourage them to obviously take appropriate action. It seems like every site you go to gets compromised these days. That's unfortunately also not stopping people from going to the sites at all, though. So there's that. Opera is, if anybody's using Opera, anybody out there using Opera?
I used to. I haven't used it in a long time.
Phoenix mentions that Fallout 4 mods are available for PS4 and Xbox One. Anybody out there who are Fallout 4 fans? It's a hugely popular game, and a usually popular franchise.
I was muted, but that's funny. A way to just move on. Isn't it a way to just move on like that? Isn't Opera like? Isn't that based on Chrome now, or Chromium, or whatever? The open bits. They were going to do it a long time ago. I remember they were going to do it, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll wait for that. But any news on that?
Well, this was solely about an option to for battery savings improvement inside the browser, and I'm not sure how they actually accomplish it, but they're claiming it does a 50% reduction.
Does anyone know that? In the chat?
Mentioned. I don't know if they've transitioned completely, though. This particular article doesn't particularly mention anything about that, so I don't know. We've got let's see. Oh, you have problems with Fallout 4 dying? Is it an issue with the game, or is it an issue with the video card in some way, or die every hour or 3? It sounds like after intensive play, there'd be an overheat issue. Quark? Don't mean to assume that. I'm sure you probably looked into those things, but I hadn't heard about that. But then again, I don't play Fallout 4, so I don't keep up with the specifics. So maybe that is a problem. Maybe there's a lack of bug patching or quick bug patching. Let's see. Did I miss any other things from the chat? Okay, there's going to be a the new year anniversary, I guess, update. It's going to be labeled as probably build 1607 from the whatever it is now, 1511. So there's an article about that was shared with us. They actually talk about the features though. Okay, support extensions. Finally, extensions in Edge. Redesign start menu. For how many times are you going to redesign the start menu? Puts apps at the core of everything, so maybe they're going to get rid of some of the advertising, I hope. Improved Action Center, and many other tweaks. That's not terribly specific, but we'll see. That's going to be coming up at the at the end of the summer. We already talked about Firefox. Oh, Wireshark, new version of Wireshark. Absolutely. Wireshark's a great tool for analyzing packets, see what's going on in your network. It's an invaluable tool to me, even when I was just teching. To get to the bottom of the corporate client's issues. Lots of improvements, a wide range of improvements. It's an awesome tool. If you haven't used it, definitely give it a try out to see what it can do. In fact, I'm probably going to take a look at that myself. It does seem like a big update, bigger update, I should say. I guess the original move to 2 was the big one. Kickass torrents. I don't like to talk about too crazy torrenting stuff, but apparently Kickass torrents moved to the dark web. We don't promote any sort
let's
of
not do that.
activities.
Dark what?
So I won't share it. I won't share the link, but it's the most visited torrent site. So if anybody was doing anything off that, you're going to have to move to the dark web, it looks like. Okay. Well, anyway. Okay. I also, if you guys do game, if you're playing Fallout 4 or anything else, and you're an AMD red team, there's the driver update, the most recent driver update for them. But the green team also has put out a new driver, and you can get that
green team
there. Yeah, the green team.
That was just red versus blue.
No, in video cards, it's.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, the
Okay.
AMD is the red team, and
check.
NVIDIA is the green team. They tend to.
I gotta go watch that now.
Colors in their product lines. So everyone update your drivers. I'm sure that'll help you attain the highest frame rates, particularly if you have a newer game or have a very new graphics card. For instance, like that GeForce or the GeForce driver there. That one is gonna work with the 1070. I think it's the first driver to support the 1070. So if you're one of those early adopters getting the 1070 out the gate, like I was considering, I haven't done it yet though. You probably want to pull that driver. Okay, D72 question, Shri. Sorry, I didn't see when you first posted that. Let's see. Oh, that was only a minute.
Uh-oh.
D72 question. Do you have anything like Decrapifier in D72? Decrapifier. Can we do a custom map with that?
What is that?
Let's take a look. The PC Decrapifier, I'm assuming.
I seem to remember using that a billion years ago or something. It first came out.
Yeah, I seem to remember something about it.
It may be a custom app for it, or may not.
Huh. Yeah, why don't we?
Yes and no. The uninstaller, do the work yourself. Kind of for definitions and stuff.
Yeah, you can have definitions for auto remove stuff with the uninstaller in D7.2. I don't know if you're familiar with that feature, but you would have to set up those yourself.
It's not hot either. I think the PC decrapifier does a little bit more like forcefully remove stuff if it, and terminate and junks and whatnot. But I actually plan to take the uninstaller there at some point.
A little bit different than
do everything. You still have to just figure it out. Like, what I want to do actually is take the like the existing definitions list. There's 3 definitions listed in the uninstaller. There's There's the uninstall programs list. There is the and then there's files and registry deletions. And basically what I would like to do is then add code to examine the matching entries in the uninstall key in the registry for those programs, and then seek out everything that belongs to them. I just auto add them to the other defs, but it hasn't been one of those things I could do yet. It's actually would be pretty trivial, but it's a lot.
Well, keep that idea alive. So it looks like PC Decrapifier is also doing a sort of a ranking system. So if they have commonly removed, they'll show those to you as a recommended. I don't like this idea because you can remove legitimate stuff just as easily as they can remove bad stuff.
Do you mind if I just go ahead and throw out, and I've mentioned it here and there, but I have that in mind for D7X and for Kill 'Em All, even just standalone, just you can rate it or whatever, and that's that, and you'll see it later, provided you have internet connectivity. But I do plan on adding that functionality to just about everything. It's just going to be one of those,
Well, anyway, I'm just looking at their recommended list in their example image here that they're showing on their website, and they have Picasa, Bonjour, Spybot, and a piece of what looks like QuickTime, or not QuickTime, I mean iTunes, there. And I mean, I don't necessarily consider any of these programs in this list to be malicious or bad in any really way. I mean, you certainly can have your preference against your Apple softwares and stuff like that or whatever, but and certainly if you're an Apple hater, you probably don't want the software on your PC. But again, their confidence factor in those things seems to be a little bit questionable. And
thank you, Phoenix, for the links for everyone.
Yeah, and we'll see if there's a way to we'll look into adding it to the default apps as well. So you don't need any. So we don't need that if that's possible. We'll look into that too. So I'll keep that thought alive as well. Let me see. What else is going on? So Phoenix also reposted his GitHub link to his custom apps config. He's really done a great job of doing some custom apps there. I think Brentley's looked at them. There were some questions. Brentley had some questions and concerns, and I can't quite remember exactly all the details of it, but there were some.
Well, I know there are a couple. Like I think Phoenix had a couple apps that could have been one app. Like a 3264-bit or something like that.
But just really minor stuff, really, for the most part. But thank you so much for contributing.
I guess it all worked great, actually.
So. But yeah, so we'll try to get out one if we're able to. Just we always caution, we do the additional research to make sure that it's usually allowed for us to automate it as such. Of course, you're free to add any application to D7.2, ones that you own or otherwise. and it's your responsibility as a user and technician with D7.2 to understand the end user license agreements for all the software that you use with D7.2. So we'll do an analysis of that, and we'll see whether or not we can proffer that up. But certainly, if we're not able to, and even if we are, Phoenix, your contributions are much appreciated.
Always welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Let me see. Do we have any other good stories today? For Firefox 48 one, I'm so happy about that. I just downloaded 47. If you guys didn't know, 47 I believe was just released today, and I thought that was cool, so I updated my copy. But now that I hear about 48 and what it's going to bring, I can't wait. I really hope that happens sooner rather than later. I've generally been a fan of Firefox over the years, but I've very sad to see its performance in comparison to Chrome have fall off dramatically, and its area, its progress seemed to be way too slow in some of those things. But it's great to see them, handling all that. Better late than never, certainly. Great story that I wanted to that I was sharing actually with Nick a little bit earlier today. But before I get to that, let's Eagle Tech had a question. Whatever happened to sharing custom apps from within D7.2? So yeah, that feature was turned off because of, I believe, some abuse that was occurring in the system.
Unmonitored abuse.
Yeah, and yeah, so we'll consider bringing something like that back to the table, maybe in such a way that
it's always a consideration, but we have to have a framework to let. I mean, the community can police itself to an extent, but the interface was just horrible.
Yeah, so I believe some effort will be made probably.
I want to write some server-side software to do that.
Okay. Do you think it's going to be something in D7X?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So
the cloud bits.
Great. So we'll see that probably return in D7X, and it's just it'll have a better framework and hopefully have some accommodations for removing or preventing some common types of abuse. But obviously, the community will need to keep.
Most of the code right now is actually that I've been working on the last couple of weeks is the framework for that server code to communicate.
Excellent. Well, that's wonderful news.
It's like the same, it'll be the same code that I will use for that. So yeah.
Awesome.
I've been doing it for our own purposes in other places, but yes.
But that's one of the things with the D7X code. It's usable across so much and is such a huge foundation. Like all of our other products the technology goes in 7, the framework is in D7, and the other products tend to borrow aspects of that functionality to do whatever it is, any specific job. So I was sharing this with Nick earlier today, and I think this is potentially going to be a big boon to people who suffer from a couple of common things, possibly also the more current one that they're talking about is IBS, but they also believe it may assist with certain types of migraine phenomena and headache as well. And they basically are researching, and they know of, let me see how I can put this. They know of some ion channels that are responsible for pain, and the channels seem to they're like pain receptors, and they're labeled, and there's a whole bunch of them, and they've primarily studied only a few of these, and they didn't even understand how the other ones were involved in pain, if at all, if not just something completely different. And it turns out that one of the ones that hadn't been addressed, there were some early studies done which indicated some things, but it hadn't been fleshed out, and they focused heavy on that, and it turns out they proved a couple of very significant things that are relevant to people who are suffering from irritable bowel syndrome. And
right.
as usual, Ars Technica has a nice detailed article, and of course, good sourcing information.
Super awesome.
Link back to Nature journal. And my mother used to suffer from
what's the potential for abuse?
Well, see, I don't. They didn't really discuss that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But
There's that.
it's not. I believe the type of pain receptor they're doing is not. The mechanism doesn't appear. What they're going to do is they're going to block the receptor for it. So it sounds to me like they're not introducing a chemical to mask it, which is very much like what something like an opioid would do. The euphoric effect and make you notice it, but that's effectively putting a big mask on top of the pain. The pain still would theoretically be there otherwise. This would effectively stop your body from feeling the pain, and it should, from my hope, I don't know, of course, until they actually create something, medication based upon this, but my hope and my thought with it, based upon how they described it, would be turning something off in the body, not adding something to the body. You know what I mean? So that to me sounds promising for that question, but I guess time will tell. And of course, there could be some, you get addicted to not having that pain, and maybe that pain is useful in some way. But I don't know. That almost seems like an okay trade-off.
Well, I was recently reading an article, and it was so recent I already forgot what it was about. I think it was, or the drug specific. It was oxyco something, codone. It was one of the abused opiates that but it was about, I think it was that one anyway, but whatever the one that's the most popular,
Yeah, OxyContin is one of the most popular.
OxyContin, that's the newer one. They are, and it was, the article was just how it was when it came out, the company, forget the company's name, but they just kept reformulating the same drug every time profits ran crappy. And the last iteration of it, they reformulated as a 12-hour drug. However, the drug did not last 12 hours on patients. It lasted maybe 6, and on a good day.
I remember.
And so the pharmaceutical company kept telling doctors, and they kept, stating and insisting that you do 12 hours. So people kept running out, getting their pain early and taking them early. And it's apparently the #1 drug epidemic in the country right now.
Oh yeah, opiates. We've actually discussed this on the show.
No, specifically this prescription drug.
We mentioned it before. Again, 80% of all opioid prescriptions in the world are prescribed to in the U.S. And we
love our opiates.
India have drug prescriptions, and China has drug prescriptions. There are some third world countries that don't have drug prescriptions, but we're only 5% of the world's population, and we do 80% of the prescriptions. So those numbers seem grossly out of line, and
doctors love to write them prescriptions because companies love to tell them to.
Pharmaceuticals, yeah. So you're not going to see your doctor or get your doctor's advice. You're going to see somebody who's in the pocket of a pharmaceutical company, and basically his sole job is to push their drugs because they like the bonuses and whatever else is they're getting on the back end. The treatment.
Ever notice how also any sort of alternative medicine is also selling alternative vitamins and pills and drugs too? Quote unquote, like the FDA doesn't have to approve them natural junks.
Oh yeah, the supplements, yes.
Yeah, it's supplements. That's it. Yeah, because they call it a supplement. They don't have to really do anything about it. Yeah.
No, yeah, but you have to specifically market it as such, and there's some restrictions you have to follow, but there's that's a largely kind of like the payday loan guys. They don't have to follow any rules.
I hate the healthcare industry.
But the healthcare industry, is terrible this day and age, and
it costs me a lot.
They talk about the great care in the U.S. that's going to be destroyed by socialized medicine, but they talk about the great care in the U.S. But all I see is overprescribing prescription drugs and causing the largest prescription epidemic problem that we've ever seen in this country.
Well, if that's all you see, Michael, actually you're not really looking at the issue. But we can move on from the politics of it. But I was just talking about though. I shouldn't even bring up what I did. Actually, this is a tech show, fool.
Anyway, so yeah, we shouldn't be talking about this.
That's right. That's right. Because I can tell you all kind of other stories to the opposite. But
and by the way, I was looking at Ars Technica, and I noticed this article we just talked about, University Pain. But notice how the other headline was $20,000. They're saying almost $16,000 in this article. Oh, I get it. It's because it's $20,000 Canadian. Oh, so it did answer the question. So it's 16,000 US. But thank you for clarifying ours. I would have. I was concerned about that. I'm also concerned about accurate reporting. I don't necessarily trust all the news headlines that are out there these days.
They never use acronyms. Reporters should never use acronyms.
That's
among other things, but that's just one of the things that popped out of my head.
Just okay.
I'm saying you want to be accurate.
What else?
I don't even think you use an acronym, but it's a pet peeve with reporters for me. Say the AMA, is that the people who are lobbying for the drones and the FCA? With that, are you talking about
a lot of organizations that like
are messing with the doctors? And I mean,
what about the whole WWF and what if you were saying, the WWF did this, and is it World Wildlife?
Hogan did that.
Is it wrestling? Is it there's some overlap, in other words, and that's not the only example I think of overlap with those types of things.
There's a billion of them.
And that being said, you're not accurately giving much information. Now, obviously, sometimes it's obvious what you're referring to, but I don't think everyone has the same view of what's obvious. Like you and I might not even have the same view of what's obvious. So
obvious is subject to interpretation. It's a matter of perception.
Exactly, and reporters should not leave that. I mean, I'm not. I want them to source their information and not just provide a convenient headline.
That would go against profit.
Okay, so Phoenix added his PC decrap to the GitHub. So you guys take a look at that, and Juke says he's testing out the Windows Update mini tool now. Let us know what you find, and let us know if that's going to be something that could benefit anybody else out there.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it. We'll throw it in the thing. It's good. Well, I know it's good, but
awesome.
I'm talking about it. Just let us know if it works.
Awesome. Where was the story?
No offense, Phoenix, by the way. And it just occurred to me, and I'll just go ahead and throw this out there. A number of times I created apps that didn't work for other people in other situations, and it because they were using things differently, or they were working on systems I haven't been working on yet with those things. So, no offense by that. We do want to vet things first. But thank you, and we will.
I've been perturbed by something that's typically referred to as the Fermi paradox. But basically, we've been able to find a number of planets that should theoretically be in habitable zones, and there's our current statistics would tell us that there are so many out there that it would be almost impossible. So for life. So this argument, and it's not a perfect argument, but this guy's argument, and it's an interesting one because I don't know that it's been considered, but one of the things that makes us unique is that some of the original biological processes which came about on Earth interacted with the basically the atmospheric composition. There's a feedback mechanism between the life that was created on Earth and the climate. And that allows the biological processes over time to alter the climate in such a way to behoove the life. And so, it's very much like it's a built-in mechanism to kind of keep that in check. Now, other life could have arisen in other places that were in their Goldilocks zone, but maybe they didn't have those feedback mechanisms with the environment like the life did here. And in that case, those aliens would have just become extinct when their environment eventually moved outside. For instance, like the argument is that Mars and Venus in the past, about about a billion years ago or something like that, were habitable. Why are they the hot house and the cold house that they are today? The argument is that it was life. If life had been present, life like Earth life, not any life, but Earth specific life, were present in those environments if that were possible, because they lacked some fundamental things necessary. But if that did happen or were possible, then the argument would be that their climates would largely still be in a habitable range today, which they're clearly not based upon our current observations. So that's an interesting side article, not necessarily tech. It's not tech at all, but I thought that was cool just to go out there. And Phoenix says he tests every config he makes on other systems before uploading. So wow, looks like he's rather thoroughly testing.
I was getting there. I was just going to say, however, we should, just because. But I'm not gonna, that's not what happens, unless we do. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those like use things, and like I've even made things before that it's like, I don't find out till a week or so, that something's weird or wrong. But it's not really about that, I guess, so much. It's just it's coming from us if we distribute it. That's all. We weren't there when you tested it. That's all. I'm sorry. I know you're totally competent and like you're an awesome resource for the show and for the community. And I appreciate every last bit of it. But I do want everyone to know I would test everything. I'd take no one's word for it. Sorry, it's just nothing personal. But thank you. I once got a definite case in point. We got little secret. Or, well, not really. We got bad defs one time from our source for crypto prevent, and I had to email them to fix that. And we found it out through distributing it to our customers, because apparently we have more than that. I don't know, but it was basically like a hash of a 0-byte file that was the issue. I don't know. And it was like a hash of a 0-byte file, and I got in our desk, and it kind of made things a problem somehow. So we had to fix that one time. And it's just, and this was coming. These come from a security company. So yeah, so we test those now too, where we can.
Yeah, testing's always a good thing. I don't like trolls on the internet. I'm sure you guys aren't big fans.
Now define troll. Because I see everyone calling everyone a troll for, I don't know, participating in a discussion. Sometimes I think people just get mad when,
well, let's say
they're big green things that live under bridges.
Let's see. In internet slang, a troll is a person who sows discord on the internet by starting arguments or upsetting people by posting inflammatory, extraneous, or off-topic messages.
But inflammatory to one is
with the deliberate intent of provoking readers into blah 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 blah.
Right.
That is a very well, sure. But let me describe the specifics of this particular story.
Thank you. That's what I'm.
You can come to your own determination. Okay, so this guy, okay. So one of the ways that he was trolling was he would make Twitch streamers would make now Twitch. So this is interestingly sidely related to the fact that we use Twitch now, but Twitch streamers. So to make donations, and then basically using PayPal as a kind of a way to, like, right before the show ends, to take the donation back. So he would go and he made a $50,000 donation, and he was intending to get it refunded by PayPal. And in this case, because of all the bounce back against the specific person, the specific troll, it wasn't the first time he had done this, or things like this, they denied it, because they normally side with the as we know, they're more buyer friendly than they are seller friendly. So it's now this guy's in $50,000 worth of debt. So that's cool, I think. So specific case, it's gotten real quiet.
Oh, looks like
Nick may have had to go. Okay. Let's see. It's
we are hitting up on 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I guess that means we should probably end the show. I think we had a good a good conversation today. Thank you all for contributing. Particularly want to give a shout out to Phoenix for the app, the custom apps. That's really great that you do that for our community, and we always appreciate your contributions, and keep them coming. And thanks for sharing all the news stories, everyone. Thank you, Beavis. Thank you, Eagle Tech. Thank you, all Futures crew, as usual. Always enjoy your presence with us. Thank you, Mike, Phoenix, Shook, and Thermos. Thank everyone that's out there with us. And we'll see you all tomorrow, as usual, on the Foolish Tech Show, techshow.com or foolishit.com/live. Tomorrow's Thursday. We're going to be doing it at 4 p.m. and we'll do it at 6 p.m. on Friday, and 8 a.m. on Monday. You know the drill. But take care and hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Roll us on out, Proctor.
All right.
Bye, Internet.